Hey everyone, welcome back. It's the Trending 10. We're here every week, sometimes without Comic Tom. He is down at Dallas doing his Comic-Con thing, and we, Russ and myself, are here to keep things moving right along.
And for a first time in a very long time, nobody died. Welcome to a great list.
Yeah, unfortunately, that seems to be a common trend whenever Tom is not here and Russ and I have to do this stuff ourselves. So thankfully, unless something happened in the last couple hours, we're all clear. None of that stuff happening. Only good things are on the list this week, including this one. We're just going to get right to it. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 346 from 1991 with a crazy cool Eric Larson cover.
Is this a good thing? Ryan, the Venom trailer dropped, causing all types of havoc on this list. And you know what? A bunch of these books are driven by that Venom trailer. And I'm just going to come out and say it. I think the trailer looks terrible. I think the movie looks terrible. And I am not excited for this. But we are still seeing $20 average sales and a $110 9.8 just in the last couple weeks. A 155% increase in copies sold of this crazy Eric Larson cover.
It almost feels like we're trying to connect it to the Venom 3 trailer that just came out. Like, yeah, that did happen. So I guess it makes, like, the rest of the books on this list will make more sense when it comes to symbiote stuff. This one is just a cool cover featuring Spider-Man reflected in Venom's eyes. It did, however, make me catch that actor Rhys Ifans. I hope I'm saying that right. Russ tried to fix my
Close
pronunciation.
enough.
Sure. We remember him playing the Lizard and Kurt Connors back in Andrew Garfield's Amazing Spider-Man number 1, and he reprised the role for No Way Home. He showed up in this trailer very briefly playing a guitar in the back of a camper van. Either he's playing a completely new character or that is the Lizard / Kurt Connors, and we might be getting some connective tissue to previous movies in Sony's Spider-Man universe.
Having the connection between the Sony universe and the Marvel universe with No Way Home, and we know that we're looking forward to Wolverine and Deadpool, which is going to be more connective tissue here. This still seems kind of like a long shot.
And it wasn't until I was looking up how to pronounce this actor's name that I realized he plays Otto Hightower in House of the Dragon, which I'm currently rewatching season 1 in preparation for the new season dropping, I think next week. He's one of my favorite characters on that show, and I would much rather watch him there than seeing him in this new Venom movie. I am not looking forward to this movie at all. The trailer looks bad. But we're going to get more into that later as we go. Number 9 on the list is something that is much more in your wheelhouse than mine. I was not allowed to watch this show growing up.
Number 9 on the list, the Mike Judge masterpiece, Beavis and Butthead. Number 1 from 1994, $12 average sales and $57 for CGC 9.8. That is completely and totally down from the real 9.8 we saw back in January of 2022 of $242. Well, we happened to have seen that Saturday Night Live sketch a few weeks ago, which a lot of people loved, thought was very, very funny. But the big news this week is that we are going to have a season 3 of the new Beavis and Butthead television show, and it is moving to Comedy Central. Now, with this comic book coming out in 1994, the show had been out for a couple years by that point in time, and I was 15 in 1994 and definitely had been watching the show since junior high school. Always loved Beavis and Butthead, always made such an impression, frog baseball, things that we shouldn't be doing on television. I know Ryan made a face. You don't know frog baseball unless you watch Liquid Television, but it's great to see this, just a little bit of nostalgia, 30 years afterwards, and it's a bunch of guys my age who are planning on watching this show on Comedy Central.
And it is people like you in that demographic, a little older than me, who are causing this book to hit the list. We're seeing a 133% increase in copies sold compared to last week. My only really familiarity with Mike Judge is Office Space. I watched that movie a few times in high school. I thought it was fine. I haven't gone back to it, though. We need to pause here because there's some mystery mail call news, and now that Tom's not here, I think you and I can explain it a little more calmly and clearly. Tom's not really good at any of this stuff. We're going to break it down for you in a pretty cool way, so strap in.
Goosefraba.
Normally, when I explain the mystery mail call, it's a box that you sign up for on our website. We send you comic books every month. I normally say, it's a cool way to read some books. Maybe you're a little lazy and you don't want to go out to your local comic shop and you just want comics sent to you instead. There's always a bunch of cool number 1s in there, new stuff to start reading. But this one, this month's box, the books that are going in there, the 2 guaranteed exclusives, 1 per box, they're actually pre-selling for quite a bit on eBay. So I'm just going to tell you now, just get the box and flip it. Don't even read this stuff. Just send it back out, resell it. You will make money on this box if these sales numbers are accurate.
This Ivan Tao variant is insane! You're going to want it! That's my Tom impression.
Ivan Tao did a cover for Deadpool, Wolverine, World War III #1. It is pretty insane. It's pre-selling for like $40 on eBay.
It's really cool, yeah.
If you want it, you can get it through us, through our box. That one is guaranteed one per box. Everybody who orders the June mystery mail call will get one of those in their box. The other guaranteed exclusive one per box is a Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider done by Greg Horn. There are two different versions of this cover. This one has a trade dress and a Virgin cover. The Virgin is seeing pre-sales of $30 on eBay. So if you are lucky and you get the Virgin cover as well as the Deadpool Wolverine that everybody will get, if you flip both of those, you can maybe like double the money you spent on this box. I hate selling it that way. I would much rather say read the books. Reading's fun. I love reading comics. I hate selling comics, but it's kind of a no-brainer.
Hey, Ryan, how about you tell me when the deadline is for signing up for this mail call box?
That sounded so organic and unrehearsed. The deadline is the 15th of this month. It's the 15th of every month that you can sign up for the mystery mail call. You can either buy it just one time. If you don't want to subscribe to this and get it every month without having to remember, you can just go grab this one box, ComicTom101.com.
Number 8 on the list, more Venom speculation news. Venom Lethal Protector, number 2 from 1993, $8 average sales, and $75 for the last 9.8 GPA sale. 136% increase in copies sold. Again, not a massive number, but it's very much tied to the new Venom trailer.
We haven't talked about this book for about a year, last May, to be exact, and that back then it was because of the shooting title for this movie, which was Orwell. That was the secretive name they were shooting this movie under, and people made the connection between the title Orwell and the character General Orwell Taylor, who is a brash military guy who's hunting down symbiotes, and we definitely... I don't want to say definitely, but it's pretty likely that that guy will be in this movie, played by Chiwetel Ejiofor, who plays Baron Mordo in Doctor Strange. So again, we're getting another kind of multiverse sort of situation. Not really. It's just the same actor playing two different roles in two unrelated movies. But it's pretty clear he's going to be hunting down symbiotes in this movie based on the trailer. So this is pretty safe spec.
And this is just another one of those 90s books that were completely and totally overprinted. Every single collection that I have that comes in from a child of the 90s happens to have the entire Venom Lethal Protector with the #1 foil and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's a bunch of appearances in this, but the print runs were massive. And a lot of these kids weren't even reading these comic books because they were just collecting to make money in the long run. It's kind of an interesting thing, but these books are finally spiking after 30 years in collectors' hands. If you like what we do, you should like, subscribe, and be here every single week. We have been doing this video without fail for 6 years in a row, and that's a lot.
Even when Tom's gone, we still have to keep this thing going. So actually, you should hit the like button, especially now, because it's just us. Tell us that we're good. Tell us that you like us more than Tom. We need it. We really need that to keep going. Speaking of which, we do need to keep going. Number 7 on the list, Moon Knight, #1 from 1980. Why is this book here?
If a few years ago you had told me that Moon Knight #1 was going to be perpetually relevant, I would have laughed at you. But the fact that we had I actually really liked the Disney Plus series, and Moon Knight seems to be doing more and more and more, and people are caring more and more about this character. This fantastic Bill Sienkiewicz cover is going for $50 average sales raw, and we are seeing a high 9.8 of $211, down from $1,350. Like, seriously, this book is down substantially, and I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that there are so many more copies on the census, especially at a 9.8. It seems that there happen to be a lot of people holding on to this book from when they bought it in 1980, and we are seeing a lot of high-grade copies come out of the woodwork.
I would be remiss also if I didn't give a special shout out to the Jed McKay and Alessandro Cappuccio run on Moon Knight that has been going on for the last couple years. I actually dropped that from my pull list. It's a little overstuffed. I have too many books on my pull list, but that is a pretty good run, and even though it wasn't exactly for me, I think the artwork in there is gorgeous, and it's definitely helping elevate the character to a pretty good level, keeping him relevant, especially because we have no real news about what the hell Oscar Isaac is going to do as Moon Knight Mark Spector moving forward. We got those like 6 episodes a couple years ago, and nothing since then. Or do we?
We're seeing a 140% increase in copies sold on this book, the first appearance of Bushman, because we think that Giancarlo Esposito may very well be playing that run. Do we think that? I don't know if we think that. The comic book community keeps following these breadcrumbs, and last week we were talking about him potentially as Doom because we had some like grainy footage and some weird audio of, you know, I'm going to be in the Marvel universe and people thinking about Doom, and now we actually have a set photo of him in the new Captain America. Uh-oh.
Yeah, like later that day after we recorded this video last week, news was actually confirmed that he will be appearing in Captain America Brave New World, and there was a set photo released of him on set, dressed up in like some tactical gear, this pretty badass looking coat with a bunch of knives strapped to him, and people made the connection to Bushman. We still don't know who he's going to be playing in,
I think he looks
in the
like
MCU.
Blade's grandfather.
He does kind of look like an old version of Blade.
That's really cool. It could be Blade. I'm starting that rumor.
I read some rumors that people still think this is Victor Von Doom. Like before stuff goes wrong with his face, and we get some kind of different
Without the
version of
MF
him.
Doom mask? Okay.
Sure. I guess he's copying that from the rapper. Exactly. I've seen Kang the Conqueror rumors. Maybe we'll get like an alternate version of Kang. Spec is all over the place on this character.
Yeah.
Bushman isn't the worst idea, though. And remember, when he teased his role, he said he was going to make an appearance in a movie to be followed by a series.
Yep.
If this is Bushman, that could be meaning that we are going to get a season 2 of Moon Knight, which will feature him as the antagonist, presumably.
That's the thing. It wasn't very clear because it could be his own series or he could be the antagonist in a follow-up series. More shall be revealed.
I want to go ahead and give a special shout out to everybody in the audience. This week, we had the release of issue 4 of Crashdown. That's the comic book I wrote with Comic Tom. The final issue came out this past week. It's all done. Crashdown is in the bag. It's all out now, all 4 issues. The story's over, maybe. And I just want to say thank you. It's a good feeling. The support that you guys have shown for us and our first comic has been pretty humbling, and it feels cool. So yeah, thanks again. We need to get back to the list. I just want to slip that in there real quick.
I am super proud of these guys. Really, Comic Tom and Fire Guy Ryan doing an amazing job writing a comic book and getting it released. This is one of those things that when Tom and I were sitting on the couch playing PlayStation, I don't think we ever could have imagined that this and the show 6 years later and now getting a comic book published. Again, it's all full circle, which is just amazing.
And you actually had a pretty cool exclusive for it. I'm thankful for that, too. I'm glad you ran with that cover. That cover was actually my idea, at least the image. I didn't make the art. I'm not an artist, but using that scene for the cover was my call. Humble brag.
And now for something completely different. X-Force number 2, the second appearance in comic books of Deadpool. We're seeing $10 average sales and, as Deadpool would be proud, a $69 CGC 9.8 just this last week. Any real reason we're talking about this? Nope. We had the new popcorn bucket come out. Yup. And really, I think we're just talking about it because New Mutants 98 is fairly expensive. This is low spec, and he's on the cover.
Yeah, we're seeing a 122% increase in copies sold. We last talked about this book about a month ago when Tom and I were at C2E2. It just makes sense. If New Mutants 98 is out of your price range, like it is my price range, this one is significantly cheaper, and it's still kind of gaining some traction in the lead up to this movie. We are now less than 2 months away from Deadpool and Wolverine, the only Marvel movie coming out this year. Everyone's excited, and this makes sense. This makes sense. I don't really feel like we have to waste too much time on this book. If you're a Deadpool person, this is a book that needs to be on your radar.
And that's the interesting thing you just said, Ryan. The only Marvel movie coming out this year, which is why when someone said the Venom trailer is coming out, I'm like, no, there's no Marvel movies coming out this year. Oh yeah, that Venom movie is a Sony movie. It's not a Marvel movie. And they're treating it as such. But hey, more Venom spec. Number 5 on the list, Venom vs. Carnage number 1 from 2004.
Correct. We got $25 average sales for this book with a 367% increase in copies sold. That's nothing to sneeze at. This is the first appearance of Patrick Mulligan, who later becomes Toxin, who we actually did see first appear in the previous movie, Let There Be Carnage. He is played by actor Stephen Graham, who I quite love from Boardwalk Empire. He played my boy Al Capone and a whole bunch of other cool roles in other movies since then. What the hell is he doing in the Venom movies, though? Like him and Tom Hardy and a whole bunch of like people I would consider good actors I feel like they're kind of, I don't know what they're doing in these movies. I'm a little frustrated that we're squandering their potential with movies that don't take themselves seriously enough.
So for those of you that may have missed it, Patrick Mulligan appeared as a detective in Venom, Let There Be Carnage, and also made a little tiny brief appearance in the latest trailer. At the end of the Venom 2 movie, we did in fact see him in a jail cell with his eyes glowing blue. So there's a pretty strong suspicion that he has in fact been affected by a symbiote, and there's a fairly good connection that it's going to be toxin.
Can you tell how excited Russ is for this movie? I came in here expecting him to like it. Honestly, I watched the trailer last night while prepping for this video, and I know Russ and I don't always see eye to eye when it comes to certain movies. He's got a lower tolerance, like a less of a bar than I do for quality, but it seems like we're both on the same page here, I feel like.
I bought this next book on the list off the rack. I have been buying and reading Venom stuff for 30 plus years, and it is so frustrating to watch a great actor like Tom Hardy and so much potential with these characters, Venom and Carnage and Toxin and all of these other symbiote characters, and just have it be so clearly written and worked on by people that have never read the source material. And if you haven't read the source material, go back and read number 4 on the list, Amazing Spider-Man number 300, first full appearance of Venom from 1988. We are seeing $600 average sales. Last GPA sale for a CGC 9.8 is $2,950, and a massive spike in the number of graded books on the census this week.
Yeah, this number I had to triple check because it seemed way too high, but this is accurate. This book last showed up on the Hot 10 back in the middle of February. Since then, we've got 784 slabs in under 4 months, which I don't think I've ever seen an increase like that in any of these books that we've talked about on the list. That's a monster increase. So I guess that makes sense why so many copies are moving, because there have been, at least in the slab department, so many more entries onto that census.
It's a 108% increase in copies sold this week, and Amazing Spider-Man 300, even back in 1988, was massive news. Every single person was in on it. All the people I know were buying multiple copies, and when you went to comic book shows back in the late 80s and early 90s, this was the book that everyone was looking for. It was such a cool cover. It still is an iconic, cool cover and a great pose and a fantastic story to boot. At this point, it wasn't even just Todd McFarlane doing the cover. He was also doing the interior art as well, and really just completely and totally raising the bar for everything Spider-Man and Venom from here on out.
Until we got to the movies, anyway.
Ryan, am I reading this right? Is this our moment of zen? Do we actually get an opportunity to not talk about Venom?
I get to inject a little positivity into this number. We're at number 3, Star Wars The High Republic, number 1. As Russ said, not a Venom book. This book came out in 2021 and seeing $15 average sales with a 350% increase in copies sold, for the simple reason that this week was the premiere of Star Wars The Acolyte on Disney+, which is the first live-action project to take place during this time period, which is like hundreds of years before the original trilogy of movies that everybody knows and has honestly been kind of done to death on Disney Plus and in other movies at this point.
The Acolyte has been a highly anticipated show, and a lot of people knew that this book would be one that we would be talking about because there are so many first appearances, and we get to see a young Master Yoda hanging out in the universe as well. These books are all over the place. 9/8 I'm seeing anywhere from $50 to $100. If you're patient, you can find them. You can also get raw copies and get them graded. This is not a book that I would say goes super heavily, but this whole series is a really good read. And on the Trending 20, the larger list that we source from Key Collector Comics, thank you so much. Use code TOM101 for 2 free weeks. But over on the Trending 20 list, the larger list that we source these from, we also see High Republic number 2. And in the past few months, we've been talking a whole lot about High Republic number 5, first appearance of Vernestra Rwoh, who is going to be showing up in The Acolyte.
She actually already did. The first 2 episodes dropped, and I watched them this morning, actually, before coming over, because I've not read any High Republic stuff. This is all a new blank slate for me, and I liked it. I actually enjoyed the first 2 episodes of The Acolyte. I came in with no expectations, having no familiarity with this time period or any of these characters or any of this stuff. And having seen some negative takes online, because it's a new Star Wars thing, and that's just par for the course at this point. A new Star Wars thing comes out, and people kind of crap on it. It did feel kind of different, which I like. I want a little bit of something different in Star Wars. I like when they give us things that aren't just kind of rehashes of the same movie that we've seen, like 3 different versions of at this point. you got to balance kind of the familiarity and the nostalgic vibe with Star Wars with the need to inject something new into the formula. And this show so far, without spoiling anything, is basically like a murder mystery. We've been told through all these movies that the Jedi are kind of like space cops and space police. But this one, you really kind of see them as a team sort of investigating a murder mystery, at least in the first 2 episodes. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes and if it can be really good moving forward, because we did get kind of a pretty cool tease at the end of this second episode that I'm looking to see how that pays off. I really don't want to spoil anything, so I'm just going to shut up.
Number 2 on the list, bet you didn't see this coming, Venom, the Hunted, number 1 from 1996, $10 average sales, and a $198 CGC 9.8, because there are only 22 copies of this book on the CGC census in a 9.8, and it's a 1,067% increase in copies sold. I think that is the largest increase we have this week.
That makes sense considering how scarce this book was. This might have been the thing that bugged me the most about this trailer. There's a shot of this creature in here who's like hunting the symbiotes, and that's the Xenophage. First appears in this issue, so yeah, it does make sense to see this pop up on the list. We do get teases in that trailer of Venom's planet, the Clintar, coming down to invade Earth and cause a whole bunch of chaos. And as a reader of the comics, I just was reminded of Donny Cates, of King in Black, of Null, and that whole storyline that he kind of threaded throughout his entire run on Venom, and how cool that would have been to see an accurate Null adaptation done in live action. And it feels like they kind of took that idea and dumbed it way down and gave us this creature in Venom 3. But if this is the quality of Venom movies that we are currently getting, I'm kind of glad that we're not seeing them touch this storyline. The Donny Cates Venom run, if you never read it, go check that out. That will really make you love the character and appreciate it so much more, especially if these movies and this most recent trailer left a bad taste in your mouth as well.
Ryan, I think I'm pretty happy the fact that there's no DC books on this list.
You would be mistaken, sir.
What?
You are wrong. Incorrect. Superman is a DC character.
I'm not happy about that. I love DC books, and it's always shocking to me when we have so many Marvel-heavy books. So yeah, number 1 on the list. I'm super happy we finally have a DC book on this list.
You are super happy. It is Superman, number 264 from 1973, everyone's favorite issue. This is the first appearance of Steve Lombard, a kind of side character, a fellow reporter over at the Daily Planet who was actually just cast in James Gunn's Superman movie, which is still adding actors and characters to this very, very crowded film.
The prices on this book are super low and probably as expected. $30 average sales, and we saw a CGC 9.8 go for $153 back in February of this year. That's a 9.8 from 1973, guys, and these are going for less than 9.8s from just 10, 12 years ago. This book seems egregiously undervalued, but realistically, it's not a key. It's not a book that anyone's cared about. On the CGC label, it doesn't even say Steve Lombard on the cover. I like this cover. It's great yellow, got invisible football player running around. I mean, it's something that I've got 3 or 4 copies of at the shop, but at no point did I ever say, hey guys, you want to check out the first appearance of Steve Lombard?
Well, he's going to be in the movie. We kind of skipped past that whole part. Beck Bennett, the recently departed SNL cast member, one of my favorite SNL cast members in recent years, he's going to play Steve Lombard. And it just makes sense. If you have any familiarity with his performance on Saturday Night Live, he's very good at playing these kind of, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the word douchey, but dude bro, kind of like jock, clueless oaf style characters. And that is very much Steve Lombard. He's kind of a big blustering kind of sports reporter who's always trying to hit on Lois Lane, and it's not really working very well. Beck Bennett, though, undercover office potty. I don't know if you remember that sketch from Saturday Night Live. That's my favorite one, where he keeps going to the bathroom in comically oversized office supplies and trying to hide it on his desk. Personal favorite sketch of mine. I'm quite in love with him. I was very excited to see him joining the cast as well. The cast overall for this movie, I think, is spot on, especially considering Jimmy Olsen, played by Skylar Gisondo, which is like the most perfect casting in the entire world. So especially at the Daily Planet, I'm excited to see what sort of plot lines and shenanigans these characters can get up to.
What do you think of this list? How many of these books do you own? Do you like free comics? Would you like to get something free in a giveaway?
I knew we forgot something in this video without Tom here to lead the way. We do giveaways now. Since you made it here to the very end of the video and a bunch of people have probably bailed by now, we're telling you're our friends. You made it all the way to the end. If you want to be entered in to win free books, all you need to do is sign up for our SMS text messaging service. We offer that on ComicTom101.store. You go there, a little pop-up will pop up and ask you for your phone number, and that is how we contact you if you are one of the random giveaway winners that we draw every week. That is also how we notify you of upcoming exclusive drops that we do. Sometimes you'll get even discount codes in there that aren't available on our website or in videos, for example. So yeah, we announce giveaway winners in, I think, every video. I don't know what Tom wants to do this week. We're just rolling with it here. So we appreciate you. Again, leave us a comment down below. We like you. I'm in the comments all the time. I want to hear what you think. I want to hear what you think about the Venom trailer. I'm not excited. What did you think about the Acolyte? Am I weird for liking it? Are you weird for liking us? Who knows? We'll see you next week.
Go on and geek responsibly, guys.
Enough said. Let's get out of here.